Hello and welcome to this week's vlog. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that I did pre-vlogging, the life before YouTube, I suppose. So basically I came out of university and I met a chap who was filming and editing wedding videos, and he liked my experience of media and all that kind of stuff. So I started working with him as a second shooter and doing quite a bit of the editing. And it's really good, I really enjoyed it, but I was working during the week, and then weddings, back then Saturday was generally the wedding day, so your weekend kind of got taken up or at least halved. So after a couple of years of doing that, well, he ended up eloping to, emigrating to Australia anyway, so the business closed down and I just went back to working. But I always had this idea. We used it for our wedding as well, the concept anyway, of having your guests sort of the same way that you used to put disposable cameras out on the table before the days of smartphones and Instagram and being able to share stuff really easily. You used to put your disposable cameras on the table and people would take pictures of themselves. I had an idea of having video cameras that you basically did the same. Your guests filmed different bits for you and then it would come back to one central person, me, and I would edit it to a piece of your music, your favourite song or your first dance or something like that. So I had this idea for a little bit. I got a little bit of inheritance when my grandma died and I decided to buy the cameras. So I started out with a flight case like this. This is one of them. It's a bit battered and bruised. And I started out with one case, 3 cameras. And they don't make these cameras anymore, they're called flip cameras. Take the case off so you can see. So I had 3 of them, all branded. My wife did the branding for me. So they're all handheld, they're HD, and you can just literally take it and you get like 32 gig on each one. So over 3 cameras, that's quite a lot of footage. I never had them come back completely full. And you got a charger as well, so you could keep them charged up, but they were just USB chargers. They flip out like that, so you can charge them up, and you can also plug them into your computer to download the footage and that kind of thing. And it was really good. I enjoyed coming up with it, and the name of the business was Wedditing, and I sent this things. Hello, thanks for using Wedditing. Here's some tips and tricks. This is how to use the equipment, sending everything back. These are the sorts of shots that you want. So basically I was putting everything in their hands so they could get the footage, and then I didn't have to be there, so I could keep the cost down, appeal to a different demographic of brides and grooms who didn't have millions to blow on a wedding. I was charging £299 to start with for Wedditing. And then eventually, over the 4 or 5 years that I was running it, went up to £399. The £299 was basically for the first 2 weddings that I did to try and get myself a bit of a portfolio, be able to make a promo video for the website and that kind of thing. I was very fortunate enough to be recommended by Tom Heaton when he was doing his wedding video, when he was doing his wedding photography. He recommended my service. First wedding that I got, first proper wedding that I got, was Jane, and I can't remember the name of the groom off the top of my head, but Tom very, very kindly took this picture of the cameras in action. I think it was one of the ushers doing a bit of filming, and that became my go-to image for all promotion. That went across wedding magazines, blogs. It went everywhere, all over the website, Facebook page, Twitter marketing, all that kind of thing. So I was very, very grateful for Tom for that. But then I kind of started getting a bit stressed out with it all. Even though I was getting my Saturdays back and I was turning the videos around quite quickly, I'd send the cameras out on the Wednesday. If it was a Saturday wedding, I'd send them out on the Wednesday to get there for the Thursday, so they could play with them, get to know the cameras a little bit, get them to wherever they needed to be, because the idea was to film the bride's preparations and the groom's preparations, so you had 2 cameras for that, and then maybe have the 3rd camera at the church, getting the guests arrive and stuff like that. So with the 3 cameras you got all the angles, and it's quite easy to edit in between. I also had a PRS license, so I could use Kylie Minogue or Elbow or the Beatles for whatever tracks that the bride and groom wanted. And the good thing about it was that I could turn it around within a week basically and upload it to my Facebook page, tag them in, and then more people knew about my Facebook page because they would share it from my Facebook page, and I'd also host it on Vimeo so they could direct people to that, and I could password protect if they really wanted. I could keep it private, or I could talk about it to the whole world. Basically the bride and groom dictated what they wanted from their video, and I did it. It was great. I enjoyed the editing side of it, but as I said, I was getting stressed. There were a few times where this went missing. I had 2 weddings right at the top end of Scotland, and the courier generally 95% of the time was great, but if the bride and groom weren't at home, if they'd popped out to get the flowers or whatever, I was getting myself stressed out. There were times where, there was just one time when I was camping with my wife, and I don't think we'd had our child by then, first child, but I was on my phone in a campsite trying to get a signal to chase up where this had gone, because I'd been paid. I took payment beforehand, I had insurance, and that was the thing with the sort of trying to keep it low, trying to keep the price low and affordable and appealing to that demographic of brides and grooms who would be interested in doing it. I had quite a lot of quirky brides and grooms who were really into it, but to keep the price low, I wasn't making that much money. If you take into the account the courier there was 20 quid-ish, and then back was the same. I needed to buy the stuff in the first place. I had to have insurance in case they decided to nick the cameras. That was the other stressful part. Sometimes I had back-to-back weddings, like the Saturday and then the following Saturday, so I'd have to send out on the Wednesday for the Thursday. It got picked up the next working day after the Saturday, so that was the Monday, back with me on the Tuesday if the couriers didn't mess up. I'd then have to get all the footage off on the Tuesday, Wednesday, send it back out for the next couple to have it by the Thursday, and it was just getting a bit stressful. I enjoyed it, I loved it, I thought it was great. It was my business, it was something that I grew, but I wanted to sort of give a bit of information about pre-YouTube, pre-vlogging, and where I get some compliments on my editing all the time, and I am an editor at heart, and I'm a video maker at heart. That's my background, but then I got interested in the photography side of things, and I thought the two going hand in hand, especially with the growth of YouTube and all the photography accounts on there, I wanted to do it as well. So yeah, I loved editing. I do miss it sometimes, but it got to the point where I wasn't making enough money to be stressed out with it. I probably did about 40 weddings over the 4 or 5 years, so it came down to one every month, every 6 weeks, and I had some really amazing couples who still keep in touch now. And when I announced that wedding was closing, there were some of them who were really good. There were some couples that I never heard of after sending that. I had some wooden eco-friendly USB sticks. Instead of copying to CDs all the time, I'd send them it was like a little keepsake USB stick. I don't know if I've got it. I've got them somewhere, but I'm not sure. Just let me have a quick look. Yeah, I've found one here. I got these made up. Again, this is another cost. These were like £10 each. So once you start adding these in, your profit goes down. So I had them engraved with editing and the website on the back, so they could keep this and they could do what they wanted with it. So it was a USB stick made of wood. Really cool. Pop it in a little box, put a bit of washi tape around it, send it out to them, and I had some really good feedback with these. But I got to the point after having I ended up with 3 identical cases with identical setups, because the demand was so big. I was having requests for the same day, and I didn't want to turn the weddings down, didn't want to turn 400 quid down. It was a really good side business, but I got to the point where the stress wasn't worth the money I was making, and I also thought these cameras weren't like the technology was advancing, and these cameras were probably getting out of date a little bit. They weren't making them anymore, so they were getting harder to buy. The price of them was going up, and they were only available on eBay and Amazon for a ridiculous price. One of them broke, and I had one of the brides contact me saying one of these overheated on the day, and when I got it back there was nothing wrong with it, so I don't know what happened. But the stress just wasn't worth the money, so I thought I either reinvest, get 3 more kits, and maybe use like GoPros, like GoPro Heroes or something. But even my wife told me that I'd sort of fallen out of love with it, so I decided to close it down, it was a shame. I still think about starting it back up again, but I don't think I will do, especially with a young family. I don't think it's worth it at the moment. Maybe in the future, you never know. I've still got all the accounts, I've still got the Twitter, Facebook. I don't think I ever had an Instagram account for it. I've still got the Vimeo page, I've still got the website and the domain somewhere. So yeah, that's why I enjoy vlogging these days, because it's so much less, it's for myself, so I can take the 4 weeks off that I just took for the summer. There's no pressure to produce, there's no couriers, there's no stress anymore really. I'll do it for me, but it's still, each wedding was like a little project which I enjoyed turning around. I enjoyed being part of it for that amount of time, and I feel like each vlog that I do these days is the same. I can see it from creation, from the birth to the end when I publish it, so you guys can see it. So I just wanted to give a little insight into me and my background and this business that I used to own, that I might, you never know, I might bring it back. I still get asked to edit weddings for people. I did, one of my cousins got married, and I just went along with my GoPro and I filmed the same way that editing would have worked, and they really enjoyed it, and that was the last one that I did for editing, and it was quite nice that I filmed the last one really. But I don't know, I still have an urge to start it up again really. I'm a business head at heart. I've got various businesses, I love working for myself, but this YouTube channel is giving me space to create something every week, and yeah, well-being and mindfulness, and I can create something that I want to create rather than something that potentially someone else won't like. It's up to me. If I like it, I'll publish it, but there's no clients at the end of the day. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little insight into me. You might see some sort of like editing techniques that I used to use in weddings crop up in my vlogs now and again. Hopefully I'll have put some wedding clips throughout this video. And yeah, thanks again to Tom for that video. Thanks again to Tom for that photo, that really helped. Again, if you ever shoot a wedding, or if you can help out another creative just like that, that helped me so much, which was fantastic. And the word of mouth that I got from editing, brides, like I had so many bridesmaids from one wedding, they would then get married the next year, and they'd get in contact and want to use the same service because they were so impressed with. I never had a negative feedback. Oh, I did have one negative feedback. A couple were getting remarried. Two people had been divorced, and then they were getting married, and it was, I can't remember the name of the bride, but the groom was Roy, and I just mistyped. I put the bride's name and then I put Rob, and Rob was her ex-partner's name, and I sent it over, and she laughed about it, but it was just a bit of a nightmare. Right, anyway, I better go and do some work, but you never know, editing might crop up again in the future. I'll put the links to the videos below, so you can take a look on the Vimeo page. They're still all on the Vimeo page, and they'll stay there forever, I think. If you like Elbow, Kylie Minogue, as I said, Rascal Flatts was a good one. Some of the couples were really into it, and you could tell. Some of them weren't as much. They just wanted it. They just wanted it filmed, basically. And I think they went for this concept because it was cheaper. But some of the couples were really happy with it. So that's when it makes it all worth it. When you get the positive feedback, it's really worth doing it. And I wasn't. When you get that praise on that email landing in your inbox saying how much they appreciated it, the fact I was making next to no money because it was a side business, it didn't really matter. So yeah, thanks for watching. As I say, hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into me, and I'll be back again next week with another vlog. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.